If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
The question, how do you make small talk when you have social anxiety? Answer by John Kyle. First of all, you are acutely aware that you're not taking part in a conversation, or you're not striking up a conversation with someone you're with. This then leads you to become anxious about not talking and anxious that you don't have anything to talk about. As a consequence, you don't say anything and you become more acutely aware of the silence. Once you're away from the situation, you then become anxious about how you felt during the awkward silence and look to avoid similar situations in the future. Reference, How to Overcome Social Anxiety. This cycle of anxiety is a cornerstone of many aspects of social anxiety and social phobia, none more so than in small talk. But conversation is governed by a series of mechanics and rules which you can actually learn once you've mastered them and become mindful of how small talk works and how other people feel during silences. You will be well on your way of being able to overcome your social anxiety. There's nothing wrong, especially if you're at a social gathering or part of a larger group, and having a prepared opening statement which includes who you are and what you do. Also be prepared in terms of your body language. Face people, look them in the eye, and be open to the possibility that they are nervous too. If you are introducing yourself to someone, make sure you state your name well. The rules of engagement mean the person you're talking to needs this information to carry on the conversation and will be looking for the cue. If you're prepared to give a little, then the person you're talking to can feed off these cues. Of course, they should be following the same rules, so when they give you their name, repeat it back to them. Hi, I'm John. Hello John, I'm Amanda, and try to use it throughout the conversation. Small talk is exactly what it says it is, small. There's no need to turn the conversation into a great debate, and, equally, it's perfectly fine to break off the conversation when you need to. Just be mindful of how you end the engagement. First of all, announce your intention to go and say how you enjoyed the conversation. I'm going to have to be going now, but I enjoyed talking to you. I'm so glad I found someone else who hates the Hunger Games as much as I do, and give them an opportunity to respond and break away too. Anyway, I'm a friend of Tom's, so I might see you again at another of his parties. Hopefully there will be more films we hate out by then. The overall trick is to be kind and open with the other person, listen to what they say and respond honestly. Answer by Amita Sons. I can answer this question as both a psychologist and a person who has had lifelong social anxiety. I never enjoyed making small talk, but I have come to learn the great value that beginning conversations with strangers can have in your life, and I no longer avoid striking up conversations. But, I still get anxious before social events, especially when there will be many people I don't know personally yet. I also get anxious when teaching in front of my class, or when I give talks in public or educate doctors in our local hospital. And I do all of those regularly. Why do these things when they make me so nervous? Psychologists will tell you that part of conquering your fear is to feel the fear and do it anyway, and that the worst thing you can do is avoid the thing you are afraid of. It is definitely true that avoiding something makes it even more fearful to you, which is one of the reasons why it doesn't matter that meeting new people, teaching, and public speaking all cause me anxiety. I still seek out opportunities to do them. I'm not a masochist. I just hate to be bullied by anxiety. And I just refuse to let fear prevent me from doing or having good things in life. But the more I do the thing I am afraid of, the less I am afraid of it. At the very least, I keep gaining experiences to remind myself that I have done this before successfully and I can do it again, even if it's not my favorite thing. Although I still can find hundreds of other things I am more comfortable doing than making small talk, I can do it fairly easily now. Since social anxiety generally comes from a fear of being judged or negatively evaluated by others, I have found that the best way to manage social anxiety is to give myself a job to do. I substitute purpose for confidence and meaningful our fear. I don't focus on how others are perceiving me or evaluating me when I am trying to accomplish something important or meaningful. One of the reasons I am almost never anxious when meeting new clients in my practice is that I have a very clearly defined role as a psychologist. I care very much about doing a good job, and that matters more to me than anything else. But in situations that bring up social anxiety, I need to give myself a meaningful job or a purpose. When teaching, I plan what exercise I want to set up for the class or what information or concept is important that I teach, and I spend a great deal of time contemplating why my students need to know what I am going to teach them. I don't want to have them leave the class and think, well, that was pointless. When doing public speaking, I pick topics that I am passionate about, so that what's important isn't ever me, it's what I need to communicate. I have something so important to say that this is what really matters. At a party or social event, I give myself the meaningful job of making other people more comfortable, taking the focus off of myself. I can make people more comfortable by doing one of two things. I can strike up conversations, or I can be friendly and respond to anyone who strikes up conversation with me. I find people who are standing by themselves or not really talking and make small talk. You can find lots of ways to begin a conversation, and it doesn't really matter so much how you do it, just that you do it. It can make people more comfortable to have someone willing to talk with him, especially if they are anxious in a social setting. If someone takes the risk to come up to me and start talking, I respond by being engaging and friendly and try to get to know them better. That makes people more comfortable than having a conversation attempt fall flat. I have a purpose or a mission, so my anxiety becomes very secondary. The most important thing to remember about anxiety is that it should never be something you use as an excuse you give yourself to avoid doing something that matters to you. And sometimes, the best way to be able to move past your anxiety is to find the thing that matters to you even more than your fear. See, what is social anxiety? 7 easy steps to make small talk when you'd rather be doing anything else. Answer by Steve Webster. This is a very good question, because it probably pertains to every heterosexual man at some stage in his life. They say that necessity is the mother of invention, and this applies to asking out a woman, when your fear of loneliness, or desire for company, is greater than your fear of rejection, then you are motivated to act. Ask yourself, why are you afraid to ask a woman out? It's pretty much a fear of rejection. This is linked with our self-esteem, our confidence, our level of self-worth. People with social anxiety normally are lower in all of these. Part of the solution is to improve your self-esteem, our confidence, of level of self-worth. There are techniques and methods for this. A second aspect is to realize that you have nothing to fear, but fear itself. We all get rejected many times in our lives. It is how we react to these rejections that define us, and establish our happiness patterns for the rest of our life. Go ahead and ask that lady out. If she says number, it is her loss, and there will be plenty of other women to ask out. A skill of successful people is persistence. We all know many stories of inventors who did not give up after the first failure, nor the next. If you are to be successful in life, you and I will have to master the art of handling rejection. Good luck to you. Being lonely, or not being able to be with the person you have affection for, is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. Let this frustration be your motivation. And forgive me, my answer does not intend to minimize or ignore the enormous burden of social anxiety.